So I love the idea of sales tax software. In theory, it sounds great. You just buy some software, set it up, and then everything's going to magically work for you. The problem is, it doesn't really work out that way. More often than not, businesses are purchasing software, and then maybe 6, 12, 18 months down the road, they're figuring out the software isn't all it's cracked up to be. It's creating problems and really costly mistakes that you need to actually clean up yourself. Purchasing sales tax software and expecting your problems to go away is kind of like purchasing QuickBooks and expecting that you'll never need to pay for a bookkeeper, accountant, or CPA. And if we were thinking about accounting software in this way, we'd think it's absolutely crazy that you're just going to buy QuickBooks and everything's going to be managed for you. But for some reason, people believe that buying sales tax software is going to have the same effect, that it's just going to make everything work perfectly. The unfortunate reality is sales tax is way too complex in the United States. There are literally thousands of different jurisdictions. There are different rules based on what you're selling, who you're selling to. There's really complicated technology that we need to figure out as well in terms of your accounting systems, ERPs, e-commerce systems. It's really just too much to assume that one piece of software is going to be able to manage it all for you. What we frequently see is that people who purchase software and they set it and forget it, eventually they regret it. And it might take a year or two or three for you to figure it out. And maybe it won't ever happen at all, right? Like there are some businesses that are really simple. They purchase the software, they don't have any issues, and they're good. But if you have any level of complexity in your business, the chances that everything is going to work perfectly are really, really small. Most people don't realize this, but my background's actually in sales tax software. I worked on the technology side. I was involved with product development and also marketing, and I kept seeing this issue happen over and over again where the businesses were buying the software and expecting their problems to go away, and it just wasn't happening. So I don't care if you're working with Avalara, Taxstar, I mean, who it is. Do they make a good product? Yeah, they do, if you know how to use it. The software is just a tool, but it's a scalpel, and you can do a lot of damage and you can cost a whole lot of money for yourself if you don't know how to use the tool effectively. Unfortunately, these tools are complicated. And do we work with sales tax software at TaxValet? Absolutely, but we know what we're doing. I mean, we have familiarity with every single state across hundreds of different product types. We've set up tax settings in hundreds of different sales channels, and most people just don't have that expertise and they don't know how to monitor the state laws as they change. So, what we frequently see is that businesses who decide to go with the lowest cost solution, they'll be swinging back around to us in about a year. And unfortunately, what we found is that once the damage is done, with sales tax software, it's actually a lot more expensive to clean up. We need to diagnose what happened, what states and which returns were affected. We need to update their systems. Sometimes the wrong permit type was created. We need to close down the account and reopen it. Sometimes there's audits or notices outstanding that we need to clean up. And I really, really hate it. This really isn't like a fear mongering tactic as much as to make sure that you're fully aware that if you're purchasing software, you really need to make sure that you have someone dedicated on your team to be the sales tax expert internally. So, what are the consequences of working with software? I mean, at the end of the day, the biggest issues are tax going undercollected or returns being filed either inaccurately or not at all. And the issue is that this can cost your business hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars, and we see it frequently. I mean, we do have a bit of a biased perspective because people come to us when they have problems. So all we do is see problems all day, every day. But we do see some pretty troubling patterns. So many businesses are setting their software up and then just assuming that it's all going to work magically and that they don't need to check in. But if you have software, you need to have someone who's checking in on a monthly basis to make sure the tax is still being calculated correctly, it's being collected, the amount that's being collected is being sent to the state. And that's something that we really do for our TaxValet clients is we're checking in on all the data in every state every month. Did they collect the right amount? Is the tax being paid? And are the returns being filed on time? Another issue is that if let's say the data is flowing correctly into the sales tax filing software, but the returns actually aren't being submitted. Sometimes the errors are not being sent to the right person. And so you might not have any idea that the filings aren't being submitted. And this could affect one state, it can affect multiple states. And let's say you go 6, 9 months without filing and you don't realize anything, or getting demand notices and assessment letters in your mailbox. By that time, you can have penalties and interest in the tens of thousands of dollars just because of a stupid software issue. And these penalties and interest are usually 20 to 30% of the original tax due. So if the returns are not being submitted on time and you don't have an idea, it could cost you a small fortune. So all of a sudden, looking at the lowest cost solution could actually be fairly expensive for your business. Another big problem is that sales tax software is an entirely do-it-yourself solution. So that means if you are having an issue with the software, you're kind of on your own navigating their support. And when you do contact support, you're going to be getting a different representative every single time who doesn't know you, your business, your specific setup and situation. And all of the accountability for managing things is totally on you. You have to make every decision, figure out how to set everything up, call states if there's a problem, deal with audits. And unfortunately, most people don't have the years of sales tax experience that's required in order to navigate this incredibly complex landmine field. I mean, let's just say a state law changes, for example. Are you monitoring all of the states and the laws and how they impact your product taxability? I mean, let's say you're selling dietary supplements and a state changes how they define their exemption, and now you no longer qualify for the exemption. This could be like $1 million in tax that goes uncollected because you're not monitoring everything that's happening. And the states might change a definition overnight and you'll have no idea. Let's say there is a sales tax audit. The software is not going to help you. They're not going to manage the audit for you. The only thing they're going to do is point you towards your data and help provide you the information you need to manage it on your own. What we do for TaxValet clients is we actually monitor and handle all sales tax audits for them. We only want to get our clients involved if it's absolutely necessary. So I hope this sort of helps you understand some of why sales tax software is problematic. I ultimately decided to start TaxValet because I recognize that businesses just want problem of sales tax to go away. And the unfortunate reality is that software isn't doing it most of the time.